Well, welcome to Elevation Call, the very first elevation of June. And thanks for everyone remembering what day it is. I see Marsha joined us as well. I'm glad for that, Marsha, because we're gonna have you share a little bit with about your story and kind of some of the projects that you're working on up in Buffalo a little bit later. But first, I wanted to say thank you guys for being on, because this is another one of those nights where this is the old chapter, and tomorrow we're entering a completely new chapter in Zilis that we're very, very excited about. As you know, we've pioneered the entire hemp space for the last, it feels like a long time, but for at least 8 years. Um, Here's how Henson just joining us, and so we've been in that space, and you guys, many of y'all know that there have been some challenges with that. Goodness gracious. Musical chairs here. Hang on a second. It's been a wonderful road, and we've had welcome.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to Hal Henson.
Thank you.
But tomorrow we are launching potentially the biggest product that we have had at Zilis, and it is not a hemp product. So it is interesting that we can say that it is a powder that is not hemp, but it does interact with a similar science.
Pretty fired up about this.
Are you? Tell us how,
Well,
Henson.
I really am. I've been saying it a while. If it turned out to be what I thought it was going to be, and I think there's more to it than what I even know, but what I know I'm really excited about, and really think that if you ever wanted to start totally new within a business, literally, now is the time, and that's almost how you need to think about it. Don't, I mean, literally appreciate everything you've learned and everything, all the growth, the personal growth, and even the fact that if you have team members and customers and relationships, all the things, whether you've been involved with us, with Zilis for a month, or like Lisa, 8 years, um, everybody in between, I honestly believe that we can be grateful today for preparing us for now, for tomorrow. I mean, in my 7 years, we've had, so many startovers, okay? But I just think that the common person is looking for what we're offering at this point. And I really think the large majority of people, this is real simple. Everybody's looking for it. Um, and if we don't complicate it, even though I think there's probably some things that we'll find out tomorrow night about what it is in depth, and that it's more than just something simple, if we will keep it simple with enthusiasm and vision, that everything you've done has been a preparation for now. And here's the other beautiful thing, is we still have all our incredible line of products that are hemp based or that are mimetics in nature. And I've been looking forward to this, even with my knee and all the stuff that's been happening with that. I hope to find out tomorrow night, maybe, and I just don't know. And I know that I could ask Steve Todd and he would tell me, but I've not asked him, because I want to, he would let the secret out if I ask him, but I'm not putting him in that position. But I think that my recovery with this knee surgery has been enhanced for sure by the products I've been taking for a long time. But I also think that it's possible that what this product that we're taking, that everybody's looking for, has some deep dive extra benefits to our health, energy, restoration of our bodies. It's super, super healthy. And so anyway, I wasn't even planning on, I didn't think I'd be back here for this, but I thought, man, I'm excited. I want to tell people I'm excited about this.
Well, and we're not done with you yet.
Okay.
Because what I want to talk about first, because this is really the eve before we have the official launch of the new weight loss product, I want to talk about what we know, and then I want to talk about why we're launching this product and why this does have a positive impact potentially on everyone here. And then I want to talk about how we launch it. And then obviously we're going to get a lot of information tomorrow night.
I think it's cool how they sit in the classroom.
Look at them, Randall and Linda.
Randall,
They're in the
students in
classroom.
the classroom.
And so on the eve of this new product launch, here's what we know, and then Hal, I would like you to just summarize your user experience.
Okay.
We're going to talk about a couple other people.
Okay.
So number one, these are natural ingredients that are formulated by the Medical Advisory Board with the very latest research. The benefits will be revealed tomorrow evening. We only know a very small piece of what this has done. So that's number one. Number two, this is a powder. One half of a teaspoon is what Hal's been taking. It's oral, not an injectable, and it tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
That's number two. Number three, it's a once a day dose. So 30 minutes before breakfast for you is when Hal has been taking it. It's just once a day, and that's it.
Before I eat anything, I wouldn't call it breakfast.
So that's simple.
That's simple.
And then it works really independently in the body to do some things. One of the things that we've noticed with Hal is muting cravings for wheat and sugar.
Yeah, that was a choice that's boosted. I mean, hey, this is not new to me to be off of wheat and sugar. I've heard that for me for many, many, many years, long before Lisa. And I really struggle with it. It's part of my snacking, sweets and sugars. But over the last 6 weeks, including today, literally, there was snacks this morning at a meeting I was at. There were snacks tonight at a meeting I was at. I delivered tonight an anniversary celebration for one of the first guy ever in held housing to be in our housing for 1 year. We celebrated a guy who's been with us 1 year, sober now for 13 months, but he's lived in our housing for 12 of those 13 months. Anyway, I delivered brownies to them. They all enjoyed. I didn't eat one. And I loved Lisa's brownies, but I had no problem just walking out without them. No problem at all.
That's different.
That is different. Yeah, that's different.
We also know this is a long-term use product. So this is not just like use it for 90 days and try to dump your weight and then, get off of it. This is actually something that is designed to be used over time. It's safe, it's effective, and potentially the results can be very, very beneficial. We also have some great testimonials. And can I tell them the price point? Or do we have to wait?
I don't know. I think probably ought to wait. I don't think you should give them the exact price point.
Okay.
I think that would be NDA stuff that we shouldn't do.
Well, I do want to say this. Everyone is going to be very pleased when Hal said the common person is looking for this. This is something that is a very reasonably priced product.
It's not inexpensive, but it's not expensive. I think it's priced well to our price points everywhere, and certainly a lot less than what's offered by other people outside of Zilis for products that aren't near as good.
So Hal, one more thing.
Yeah.
I want you to just summarize what your results have been over the—
Just the results or how I did it?
Just the results right now.
Okay. Well, over 5 weeks, I'm right at 13 pounds lost. Y'all been hearing that from me for a while. And I'm as happy about the fact that I pretty, quickly over about 4 weeks, had lost down pretty, 4 weeks, 13 pounds. What is that? 3 pounds a week, something like that. I didn't notice anything for the first couple of days, and then it did. But I've maintained. I have stayed right at that point, and I'm not worried about it. I'm looking forward to hearing about the product tomorrow night. I'm not looking to continuously every day lose weight. I know that I'm happy with, for me, what I've hit, how I feel. And I think that I will probably lose some more, and I could use to lose some more, definitely. But I may have to add some things to my, I don't know what I'm going to have to do, but I think it probably makes sense that I'll add a couple of things to my daily practices.
Okay. So 13 pounds for Hal. Lee Barnes, we posted pictures on Team Unlimited. She's down 7 pounds, looks great, has taken some pretty brave shots, which she's very good at sharing on social media. So I just want you to look at her language. When I started posting Lee's photos is when I got a lot more people that were reaching out to me on Messenger. So hopefully you guys are sharing those. Sandy Potter is down 20 pounds. And there's a darling picture before and after of her with her cute dog, which is like half black head, half white head. You got to check that one out. And so those testimonials are really, really important. And I think it's important that we share other people's stories until we have our own.
Yeah.
And so the next thing I want to just cover is, why are we excited about this product potential? Who knows the why of how big this market is?
It's in the billions. I mean,
Everyone wants to lose weight.
Thank you, Judy. So everybody wants to lose weight. I think the stats are about 75% of US adults are either overweight or obese. That's 3/4 of the population. And so 40.3% and 23 of US adults were obese, over 100 million adults. And, it leads obviously to some of the top killers with obesity, with diabetes, with heart disease, and all the things. So, to find a product that is a good alternative, a plant-based alternative to some of the really harmful products that are on the market right now, a lot of them are injectable. People trying to get off of them. We talked about that last week. We actually had Chris Fay on, who was on a product that she shared very candidly her product experience. She had nausea and vomiting for like 4 days in a row, got off of it, tried to let her body heal, got back on it, had the exact same results. And we looked up the half-life, and it was in her body for 23 days. It's a synthetic.
Wow.
So just, again, we're learning that, there are side effects in some of the pharmaceutical versions of weight loss drugs. And so what I'm really excited about is to have a plant-based healthy alternative for people who want to actually lifelong healthy weight maintenance.
So here's what I want to say about that alternative thing. I think this is how it used to be. This is the original. I mean, this is what we're doing now is what people did for centuries. And they were a lot healthier. And people will do all over the world, not with this product, but the natural approach. We didn't have pharmaceutical shots and things like that. We didn't have all that. And now we do. We've become used to it. So really the other, it's like alternative, yes, but it's an offering, a natural offering.
Right. A natural offering, which is
As
really
well as
powerful
alternative.
health.
We can call it alternative, obviously, because everybody's, but anyway, I like to think of this is how it should have been.
So any questions up till now about just what we're doing, and then also why?
I think everybody's excited.
I think everyone's excited.
Get
So
to the
let's
Monday
talk
night.
about best practices, because obviously we're going to learn more information tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I did find out that there are no announcements tomorrow. It is all about the product. So you can load the call.
Hallelujah.
You can load the call up with prospects. I'm giving everybody an option to hear it live and just sending them the product, the Zoom information, because I believe they're going to give the pricing, and then at the very end of the call they're going to show people how to get that product for free. And so just so you know, it will save you a lot of time if you can get your prospects on that call. But I was reintroduced to a podcast with Mel Robbins and a neuroscientist. Some of you guys I shared that with, and I'm going to try to share it with everybody because it was very impactful.
If you want a copy of it, please ask.
And you might say, what does that have to do with best practices? What I loved about what he said on this podcast, is that everyone wants to be seen and loved. And I think the best people in this business, the people who are always on the leaderboard, are really good at that. They're really good at seeing people, and they're really good at loving on people. They're good at hearing them, hearing their stories. And this neuroscientist was talking about the power in us to really change our own circumstances, and which is really kind of what the very first part of our PowerPoint says, is that Zilis believes that each of us have this power within us. And I want you to program your mind the way that this neuroscientist was recommending, just what Dr. Stephen Todd has talked about for so long about our positive self-talk. Because when you are positive, and when you are kind, and when you hear and you see people, and you're cheerful, and you're looking for the positive in the company, in the product, and in other people, you will be a people magnet. You will draw people to you. And so my challenge is, we've heard Hal's story, we've seen the pictures. This product may or may not be that for you.
Right.
But don't focus on the negative. Learn to champions focus on the positive. Find something to fall in love with in this company and you will be successful. Find people that you can connect with this company in a way to share the love and to share the platform. And so more than just the details of, does this have the right compounds? And, next year, will that still be the right formulation? You guys, we have to be the champions, no matter what it is, and be positive and show that positivity in the world. And so I want you to just kind of think about it for a moment. Do people see you as a positive person or negative? And that is a real indication of kind of the spiritual maturity that we have in our own journey. And so you cannot be successful in this business as a negative person. And so every time that we think about, okay, what kind of goals and dreams do I have? What are my obstacles to get in the way of that? And our own self-talk and our programming can get in the way of that. And so this podcast talks about this gentle neuroscientist brain surgeon who is so emotional about his early experiences as a child, and that person who really listened and saw him at 12 years old. And so I want you guys to hear it. I will post it. So always look for the positive. And then number 2, develop your own story with this product. Now, Hal is my story right now because I gave it to him on his third day post-op. I have not tasted it.
Yeah, you haven't tasted it.
But I know that he was not aware. I was giving him all sorts of stuff like stool softeners and
I was aware of that.
he didn't know what I was giving him. And he's like, man, this stuff is good. And so I saw this person who was in severe pain, trying to overcome this total knee replacement, start losing weight before he really even knew what was going on. So that was very, really very impactful for me. But I need to develop my own story because Hal obviously has his own story as well. I'm going to use his until I have my own story.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then number 3, make a list, guys. That's just super simple, but I've got like 16 lists right here. And then I have set up a meeting in our home, and this might be just for our team because I don't have my product yet. Tuesday night here in Farmington, Arkansas. Friday in the library at 11:30, we're inviting the masses to Farmington to hear about this new tool in the lifelong weight maintenance journey, really. And that's kind of the way that we're positioning it. So I'm making lists. I'm trying to create events to get this information out in the hands of people. And so go through your contact lists. Anybody who's fitness, anybody who's who's in healthcare, a nurse, we're going to talk about that when we talk to Marsha here in a minute. But Facebook, customer lists, social media, get your lists together, and you can text people. And that's really what I've been doing. I've been texting people. How have I been texting?
Oh my gosh. Well, texting, you've been posting, you grabbed Lee Barnes, you took mine, you don't have your own quote story about this, but you have mine, you have Lee's, you have Sandy's. You have, honestly, we kind of been a sneaky way been talking about Angie Thompson's story, and those of us who were on the call, we can see a difference in Angie and Shannon. We haven't heard their stories, but obviously they're doing something. And you've been posting, I've been posting, putting it out there pretty boldly without breaking the NDA. And I would just say for all of you, take those things, even if you just made a post and said, hey, who wants to talk or hear about weight loss? Everybody's talking about it. Who wants to talk about it? And you never know who might text you or say, I do, let's talk about it. What do you got to offer? If just one person responded and you put it out there, maybe you can get them on that call tomorrow night. It's worth the shot for those people and for yourself. That's what I would say, or healthy weight loss, something like that.
And you can play with it.
Play with it.
Like
We've been
I
doing
can tell
that.
what pictures that people were like reaching out to me on. Like I had a woman who's not even on social media who I knew from 5 years ago who somehow found Lee Barnes' picture that I had posted. Like, so just play with it. Just the stories that Louise taught us how to use are only 24 hours and they disappear. So I am putting like
stay with it.
Every third post on my story is about something about weight, something about weight loss. And then I have one more question, and then I'm going to pause, and I want to hear if you guys have any other questions about tomorrow. Who are the people that would change your business if you could get their interest? And I want you to write them down. Anybody that you can think of. They might be on your chicken list. They might not know you're around, but if you could somehow get their interest, it would change your business. And let's write those people down as well. And I used to call that my chicken list. People who seemed untouchable, that maybe wouldn't really be interested in a business like this. But let's use this as an opportunity to have a conversation with them as well. And anything else you want to add to that? Or
No, I just you didn't want me to say how I did it, but that's fine.
how you did what?
Well, I changed a couple of small things.
Okay.
And I think it's important to say that. I mean, and this was what I was instructed to do, was take this 30 minutes before I ate anything. And, I did it. The other thing is that I made a decision that I was going to cut two things out of my diet. And those two things are things that I know historically are not good for me. And that was wheat and sugar. And I mean, like cookies and ice cream and, just little snacky snacks that have sugar in them. And I know a lot of things have sugar in them that I don't know is there, but there's a lot of things that I absolutely know there's sugar in it. And I would eat it anyway. And wheat on cheeseburgers, I just don't put any bread on it and that sort of thing. And so, I mean, that's not complicated, but I made a decision. But here is really what's been fascinating to me is that I have consistently been willing to do without, and I didn't feel like I suffered. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what that's about. Maybe I really don't know if there's any science behind that, if they tell us that tomorrow night. But I do think that if you go into this thinking, all I got to do is take this little thing in the morning and go about my day and do the same thing I always done, then people are not going to get results. I think there are some things that are going to have to be changed. And I think we need to be, I don't know what you said in the beginning, but I thought it was really good about, you said something in the very beginning about a certain type of weight loss, natural, reasonable. I don't know what it was, but anyway, this isn't drastic, but it's behavioral and it's healthy. And, I just think it's, we want testimony. We want it to work, obviously, for people who buy it. And yet, at the same time, people have to think, well, gosh, I know the basics, right? I know the basics of this. I just hadn't been able to do it. And what I've discovered is that I honestly have just been able to do it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and
anyway,
we think that it's really,
and I'm going to go ice my knee.
Okay, contributed to Hal's, what we call satiety. It's the ability to feel full and satisfied from your food without feeling like you need extra.
Or that I don't, I'm satisfied without certain things, like literally satisfied without those things. And so I don't know what that's about. I really don't. Maybe we'll hear about the science of it, or maybe I'm just unique in that. Okay. I don't know. So anyway.
Thank you, Hal.
I'm going to ice my knee. Good to see you guys.
Okay, so just this is where I'm going to give you guys just a minute to any questions or comments based on what we've just talked about before we transition to Marsha Smith. Jenny and Steve, Todd, is there anything you guys would like to add?
Let me comment on the product as it's developed, because it's going to come out tomorrow. And we've been working on this a long time. So don't think that this is just a knee-jerk thing that the company has come up with. It's not. It's a well thought out technology. It's a well thought out product. The company Zilis has done their due diligence with it and trying to do some research, and it's a I think for everybody on the call, it's going to be if you want it to be, it's going to be a game changer product for you to be able to reach out to people and help people, you know, and you can be confident that it's going to be high quality, best product, all that stuff. Zilis doesn't do anything, guys. I've been working with them now, you know, as a medical advisor for several years, and they just don't do anything that's not first class. And that comes from the packaging to the product to the technology, everything. So you can run with this and be confident, you know, that it's going to be a good product.
Well, thank you for your work on that, Dr. Todd. And Jenny, you as well. Anything you want to add, Jenny?
No, I'm really, really excited about it. And this is not product wise, but Lisa, I want to thank you for everything that you do for all of us on this call tonight. You do just such a great job of the verbiage you use and helping everybody understand how to promote this, self-talk. You're just a tremendous leader, and I thank you for just, doing what you do for us. That's coming from my heart. I can't say more about this product, but I just never, ever, ever want to stop thanking you because I appreciate you, everything you do.
Well, thank Jenny. You're always so grateful. Do you mind, Jenny, say just what have you been doing? Because I know you've been in massive action mode
What have I been doing?
to prepare for this launch.
Okay, well, this falls in line with Lisa will do anything to help you. And Lisa sent, I don't know, this was beginning of last week. She sent I asked her, help me with verbiage so that I can reach out to people that I have a list, And, I'm not big into Facebook. I'm trying, but I'm just not. But I love personal contact. So through Lisa's help with her verbiage again in messaging, she says things just so eloquently. It's not like, hey, y'all, you need to do this. She can take that sentence and just transform it into this masterful sentence. So she helped me with a text message, and I just took some things out because she mentioned how I personalized for Jenny. And so I just sat down and I'm like you, Lisa, I have 3 different legal pads of just names. And I've reached out to 150 people personally just by texting and, gotten some great feedback from them. And then Lisa fixed me a flyer again. Lisa she's here for us, guys. She fixed a tremendous flyer that she made on Canva and put the anything I asked for her to put on it, she did, and I had sent that out to people. So got some really positive feedback. For example, you just never know who this is going to reach. And I told Lisa, we have a customer in California. She loves our Dream product. She's been buying Dream for 2 years. Never met her. We talked, we text. I don't even think we've ever talked. But I did my thing. I sent my text message and, a couple of text messages to her. And she answered me back the day after I sent it. Well, my husband and I are really thin, so we're not interested. Thank you. Well, it wasn't 5 hours later, and I got another text message from her, from Liz, saying, my son-in-law has been on this GLP drug and he's experiencing nausea and he's just had to come off of it. So she's sending this information to him, hoping, that he will pay attention to what she's asked him to do. So you just never know where this is going to go. So you just keep on keeping on, just got to get your list like Lisa says. And I've had people send me messages back, no, thank you, I'm not interested. Well, I'm just kind. I say, well, thank you for getting back with me. And, you just move on, not everybody's going to want this, just like everything else. So you just be gracious, be kind, be thankful, and, just move on. So thank you for letting me
Well,
share that.
you're 150 people, man, Jenny. That's warrior. You're a warrior out there. So thank you for sharing that. Really, really proud of your action on that. And I know I made sure that they're going to have enough call lines open tomorrow night because it's going to be a big call. And anybody else questions or comments about the launch? I just noticed we have a new team member that I wanted to introduce, and then I'm going to introduce Marsha Smith, who everyone knows. LaShona Burton. LaShona, are you available?
Yes, I'm here. How are you
There's
doing?
LaShona. I just want everybody to welcome LaShona Burton. She's part of our Northwest Arkansas team. And LaShona, you are like a powerhouse networker. I've been impressed with this woman. Met her in a networking group, what, almost 3 years ago, LaShona?
Yeah, about 2.5 years. You're right.
And she does a lot of, but she's a recruiter in healthcare. She helps staff long-term care. Like what all do you recruit for, LaShona?
I recruit for pretty much every position. We go from the administrator but mainly my focus is always nurses, LPNs, and RNs, and trying to, get the best talent for the company that I work for. And I always throw back. I used to be a career advisor, so my career coaching always come into play. So I try to find. My goal has always been to find the right person for the job. So if I see someone that I always give them you try to get them on the right path.
And then LaShona, I know that you came to the Luis meeting the other day, but tell us why Zilis for you? What did you see?
What I see, number one, I saw that from a health standpoint, a lot of people are using herbs and using tinctures now because more and more as we look at or get more knowledge about a lot of things, we're learning that more people are going back to the holistic medicine or looking for supplements versus looking for pharmaceutical help. That's just one. What I love about the products is that I was telling Lisa that half of the stuff I saw, the ingredients were all natural ingredients. And I was using some of those ingredients just by themselves in general medical practice, my general health, overall health practices. Because if everybody, I feel like I'm the world's record holder of how many times can you get COVID. And I've had COVID at least 7 times.
My gosh.
So that's what brought me to the products because I've been looking for products for recovery that when you have an illness or that can improve your overall health, and the products speak for themselves. From a business standpoint, what I like about these products, they're not super set. The company itself is really close to the principles they've held to. And on top of that, the market's not super saturated. So if we want to grow or if you want to have a business that grows, this is just a great option and a place to be.
Well, we're so excited, LaShona. We got work to do because Angie Thompson's coming to town, and we want to welcome you to not just the Northwest Arkansas team. This is our extended team, and it's actually global now, but we're just honored, and we look forward to learning from you and with you.
Awesome. Glad to be
Thank you,
here.
LaShona. And
Can I ask a
yes.
question, Lisa? You asked a while ago if anybody had any other
Susan?
questions. So can you tell us when it will be available to order? Will it be available tomorrow night after the call?
Yes, it will. There's a
Okay.
million ways people can order that product, and we made sure that they had tons. Not only do they have tons of inventory, they've already put their second purchase order in to back it up. So they're challenging us to sell out. Susan.
Okay.
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 Susan loves a challenge. And Susan, LaShona, Susan and Judy Baker are part of our Evansville-based team. So you'll get to know kind of people and the geographies that they represent. And this is a really bright spot every other Sunday that we get to see these faces. And I'm excited to introduce another face, Marsha Smith. She is a very courageous holistic nurse in Buffalo, New York. And Marsha and I met through really kind of, she was reaching out with a client that she was looking for an Arkansas nurse to do some holistic nurse coaching. And I was just so impressed with her. She was doing some stress management and some sleep work, holistic work with clients. And I'm like, what do you know about the endocannabinoid system? And Marsha has just been very, very consistent in what she does. And I've been talking to her for a while because I wanted her to share a little bit about why Zilis for her. She and I have never met each other live. We've been working together for a couple of years now through COVID and all on Zoom. But she has integrated Zilis into a holistic clinic. And she's just done a phenomenal job on that. She also has seen some positive results from that, and she works in that clinic. And so I wanted her to share a little bit about her Zilis story and some tips on how she so effectively follows up with her product users. And she's just how you do one thing is how you do everything, and she does everything well. So Marsha Smith, where are you?
I'm over here.
There you are, Marsha. Thank you for being on. I know it's really ultra late there on the Eastern time. So
Only 9 o'clock.
that's right. Share with us, girl. I want to hear why is Elise
I'm
for
always
you?
so impressed by everyone who speaks on here that this makes me nervous. So, and I'm not usually very nervous, but I'm going to try to answer all those questions that you just threw my way.
I know you and I will remind you, and there might be some more, but thank you for just we see your excellence even when you don't always see your own excellence. So
Thank you.
tell us about Wise Elise, girl.
So Wise Elise, I was looking to reinvent myself after I retired from my 9 to 5, 50+ hour nursing job. And so I went into health coaching, got a certification there, started doing some business mentoring for that. Was looking, talking to people about sleep. And I had a client that, like Lisa said, lives in Arkansas, and with a New York State nursing license, I was kind of hesitant at that point to cross the lines and do any out-of-state coaching, but things have progressed. I don't really worry about that anymore, but at the time I did. So I reached out. She immediately answered. We started having a conversation, and then that went on the wayside, and now here we are a couple years later, still talking, but more about Zilis than we are coaching. So so that's my why. I just wanted to keep helping people, and this felt right. Kind of feels like a little diamond in the rough that if I can learn how to do it properly, will check off that box, which is, continuing to help people even if I'm not bedside nursing. So so of course I also just can't sit still very well. So I started looking for hubs, which I think is a word that we've used before. Like where are hubs in my community? And I learned this also through the business mentoring that I'm getting from another person. But she's like, you look for where people are who are coming, that are already seeking out things that are gonna want to help them. So I noticed this little clinic that sits about 7 minutes from where I live. And so I started kind of researching them and looking at their website. And it sounded like a good fit for me because it's nurse practitioner owned, and she's holistic. She doesn't take any insurance. She doesn't take any crap from anybody. And she doesn't take any, she doesn't have to follow medical guidelines and all that. That may not be the right way to say it, Dr. Todd, but you know what I'm saying? Like, she can do what she wants in her own practice because she's not taking insurance. So I started seeking out, just learning about them. And the next thing you know, there was a position posted. So I thought, this is how the universe is speaking to me. So I went ahead and applied. And so I spent about 5 or 6 months, just kind of watching what was going on there, thinking about how Zilis would be appropriate in the space, and got my courage up. I wrote a cover letter and a proposal letter to the owner practitioner, who was a really chill person. And, I gave it to her. She read it. She was interested. And basically what I said to her is like, the people coming in here, with problems that are either just trying to maintain their health. They're already preventative. They're already really good about health promotion. And you don't have any CBD in here. So what do you think? And she's just like, yeah. She goes, I used to have it, but when it got exploded and everybody on every corner was selling it, she's like, I decided I didn't have time to, deal with it. So I said, well, with Lisa's help, we had a 3-way call. We talked to her about how it would look like. She could enroll, but I would manage the account and kind of manage the people. And that's where we're at. So I know Lisa asked me to give a number of how many people I've talked to. I've talked to many, like over 20. This product only just got on the shelves over there in February, end of January, the beginning of February. So I've spoken to lots of people, and I do it while I'm there doing my other role. If they're interested, some people are just like, yeah, I'll try it. And they buy it right there. So they have the experience with retail. And then what I tell them is, here's my card. That's the number I'm going to be following up with you. Can I follow up with you in a couple days or in a week? And nobody ever says no. So I do that. I reach out to them. Is this a good time? And then I start asking them questions like, what are you noticing? What don't you like about it? Et cetera, et cetera. If I feel like they're very complicated, then a lot of times I'll have Lisa get on another 3-way call with just those individual people, and then we kind of hash it out. So the follow-up to me is the most important, because I feel like, that's what they deserve. I think that's the reason to be a field person. And it's not just about selling them a product. It's about making sure their outcomes are reached. And that's a personal promise. And I think it's a promise that to this nurse practitioner who allowed me to put these products in her space, and gave me a lot of trust. So everybody is, for the most part, everyone has had good experience. I've even signed up 2 people under her account. So she's a jade and she doesn't even know it. So that's what we're doing. I've did some education with the other practitioner that works there, and she's real good about coming out and going, hey, I think this man might, benefit from what you got here. Would you mind talking to him? So I'll, get my little binder that I made to have there on site, and, go in and show them some pictures of the ECS, and, talk about different products and how it works and et cetera. And I mean, again, I think the key is that these people want holistic solutions, and they're willing to try anything, because most of them are on multiple supplements. Like, they know what they're talking about. There's supplements out that I have never even heard about before. So they're willing and able, and it just takes the right approach, I think. Not pushy. I give them time if they want to think about it. I usually send them, one of Lisa's YouTube videos or just a product video, depending on, just reading the room sort of. And and I developed a document. I put that little health consult form from Zilis at the top, and then I just developed like kind of a running calendar of when I would reach out to people, like when was their first launch, or when was their first touch, and then what did they say they wanted. And so kind of incorporating coaching with it, instead of making them a coaching client per se. And yeah, just following up. Can I text you or call you in a week? And really nobody says no. And then I do it. And then I find out how they're progressing and if they need to have a different product. And then eventually, you know, the goal is always to kind of get them in line with the idea of enrollment. But if they don't want to and they just want to go and continue to buy retail off of her shelf, I mean, that's a win for her as well. So to me, either way works. Yeah, what can I say about that? Anything, any specific questions?
Yeah, Marsha. Well, first of all, we'll open that up if anybody has an extra question, but I just, want to commend you on your courage, because having seen you kind of like, stick your toe in the water, I mean, like, you have literally pioneered this space in a clinic. We didn't have forms. You developed your own forms. We really didn't have a process. You developed the process. You have just very carefully and really brilliantly done each step. And once you learn how to integrate in one clinic, you can take that into another clinic. And once you have made one customer, you can teach people how to make customers. And so literally it enables us to start scaling our business in different directions. And so I just want to say I'm just, very proud of just the hard work and the excellence that you've shown every single step of the way. And I've learned so much from you. In fact, you're way better than I am at follow-up. And I've just wrote all sorts of stars on follow-up is the most important part. And can I follow up with you in a week? And then discipline yourself to do it.
Yeah, sometimes if they don't want to try it and then they end up getting, product delivered, I definitely say, tell me when it gets there, because I want to walk you through how to, like everything, because some of those little 7 mil vibes are coming with clogged stoppers. And, I kind of want to prevent them from being frustrated. So like, just tell me when you get it. Let's look at it. We'll talk through it. This is how you can correct that. And most people are very appreciative of just you're taking the extra step. And then anybody that I talk to or have, I just put it in a 3-ring binder. And, every now and then I just go back through and say, oh yeah, I haven't really talked to that person in a while. Just shoot them a text, and just so they know that I'm still out here, hoping that they're having a good experience. And not everything's
Marsha,
roses and rainbows and everything. But
I have one thing I wanted you to just kind of share a little bit about the dear couple that we did a 3-way with, how they're doing on products. And then if anyone else has a question, then we'll conclude.
yeah, the Mike and Sally. Yeah. So they are clinic patients, and she wanted to, so again, the practitioner came to me and said, I think they would be good candidates. So I had met them before, which I think is also important, that we've already started a conversation. I know them somewhat, but she has essential tremors and like a pretty high level of anxiety and not so good with sleep. And then her husband, I don't know, he probably is long COVID, but he doesn't. We've done some testing and he didn't really have high protein spikes. So not really sure, but he's also not a great sleeper. So thanks to Lisa, they bought like the whole shop. The day that we had a 3-way, like she's just like, I think you should do this and this. And they totally agreed to everything. And I about fell off my chair. But so she's doing Vibe and Dream, because someone had said through all these channels, sometimes the GABA can help with tremors, especially, and also some sleep for her sleep. So she uses Vibe and Dream. And then his other really main issue with his possible long COVID is just poor energy. Like he wakes up in the morning, he gets about 1 good hour, and then he's wearing CPAP, and then he's dragging all day, and he wants to take naps every few hours. So he's doing a divided dose of Glow, and then he's doing a little Vibe at night or late afternoon. And then he intermittently will use Ultra Edge. And he's been having good, like what he calls good days, where he doesn't feel like he's burned out. He's even told me that he's went back to doing this certain craft that he does that really takes a lot of concentration and fine motor skills, especially focus and concentration. So, and then he just sneakingly decided to try the Dream as well. And he's actually sleeping better. So they're just sharing products. They're loving it over there. So I've just got to go
Thank you
back
for
and work on her with her tremors a little bit more, and see where she's at this week. Probably this next full week of June, like I'll probably reach out to them again. So anyways.
Thank you for sharing that, Marsha. I find that so fascinating. These were kind of complicated people when, you know, like I was trying to like keep notes on what's going on with them, but you know, it's beautiful to see you be able to help people at that level that really Western medicine had kind of failed them. And just for you guys to notice, long COVID, people who've really struggled with energy, we have had a ton of success with Glow. And once I had a conversation with our old CEO and said, do you think that we should look at long COVID and indication for Glow? Because we've seen it so effective at energy creation. And he's like, I wouldn't touch COVID with a 10-foot pole. You know, we wouldn't really want to associate with COVID in any way. And I get that. But just so we know, if somebody is saying, hey, you know, I'm lacking focus, I'm lacking mental energy, I still think Glow is a phenomenal product for that. I definitely use it for that myself. So thank you for that, Marsha. Anyone else have a question for Marsha? Susan.
I do.
Go, Susan.
So I always have questions. So you made a comment that you have a little binder that you keep handy to talk to people. So I always struggle with that. I always think, you know, I've kind of got some flyers in a, you know, in a manila envelope or whatever that I carry with me a lot of times. But so just tell us some examples. What do you have in your binder?
Okay, so I have screenshot most of a lot of the presentations, like the picture of the endocannabinoid system, some of Lisa's PowerPoint slides, some from Dr. Todd with the, you know, the specifics on the different sleep products. And then I just put them in, to me, an organized order that's how I would present them. You know, I also talk about the clinical endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome. And I also show them this stress wheel that I have from like my coaching tools. But that just shows like how in your whole health, you divide up mental, physical, emotional. I forget the fourth one, but anyways, it just shows like everything, all the symptoms that people can be having, which symptoms equal disease, right? So that once they see like that and they're like, oh yeah, I have that, or, you know, I know somebody who has fibromyalgia or whatever, then I feel like they can, it kind of makes it real for them. So also I like for the clinic, I said I made like, these are the products that are available here at the clinic. And then I just put them in there, like the PDFs on each of them that you can find in the resources. I just put them in like the protective sleeve. So they're over there and people can just look at it. I also put Lisa's QR code on in a little frame so they can just zap that if they're sitting in the waiting room. It's like that little short 3-minute endocannabinoid video. I think I have that other one, the wheel, where it's divided and it talks about all the things that CBD does and all the other cannabinoids. I really like that one too. I think that's a great tool to show people, because a lot of the clinic patients that come in are oncology patients that are looking for alternative or adjunct therapies to their cancer. So it says in there multiple times about how these compounds help slow the growth or, of cancer. So anyways, good question though. So
Did that
kind of just
answer?
tell a story with a book instead of having to pull out a computer and go through a presentation, I guess. Yeah.
It's good low tech. Susan, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I see LaShona has a question. Go ahead, LaShona.
Okay, I have a question. When you was meeting with the clinics, who did you actually meet with? How did you figure out who was the decision maker for that, and how meeting with the clinic or looking at clinics, who did you look to speak with to get your foot in the door?
Well, this clinic was easy because there was 2 practitioners and one is the owner. So, and she's the one that, I spoke with when I got hired and work with a little more closely. So that's who I went to.
Okay.
In a larger clinic, I would probably kind of just do the same thing and do some investigation on who was
some of the greatest.
if there's a partner, if they're partners or something. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Makes sense.
Good question. Very good question. Who's the decision maker? We've had that issue before when we went to chiropractors and different practitioners. Sometimes the office manager can be helpful if it's a larger practice, to find out who and how to actually have a conversation with the decision maker.
I was actually the office manager was on my chicken list. She's like 30 some years old. She's the nurse practitioner owner's daughter. And she definitely runs the show. And I still have not. And so my goal was to educate them all, and I sent them all I asked them if they would watch this video and, could we follow up? And out of like 5 people, 2 did it. And she was one that did not. So, and she's very knowledgeable. She's very smart. I thought she would really jump on this and run the show. So you don't always know, but so I'm glad I just went to Linda, who's the practitioner and the owner, because ultimately this decision's hers anyways. But yeah, if I was walking into a big clinic, sometimes you're probably not going to be well received. And yeah.
Well, good job on this, Marsha.
Yeah, we have a really nice little veterinarian clinic down the road, and I notice right now out in their little sign, they're saying something like, "Come in and let us show you what we do for pain management." And I was like, I'm gonna go in there, and I don't even have a pet. So
hey, we got some pets. We got some pets on Zoom you can borrow.
Yeah, so I might just drop in there someday when I'm really feeling brave and take in a tear sheet and the stuff that we have, just those flyers, the PDFs on the pet
health
friendly, the pet friendly stuff, and just see what they got going on in there.
Yeah, that takes courage too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Marsha, guys? It's all really good questions, and we've got about 1 more minute left. And
Lisa, I don't have a question, but I would like to compliment Marsha. What a tremendous job she did tonight. First thing that she started with was she was looking for hubs of medical people that could use this product, and I just think that's a great idea. And I think she just did a great job in telling us again how important it is to make people feel like you care for them, you're really concerned, you listen to them, and you follow up. People don't get that in this world today. And Marsha, you just did a great job again of reminding us this is what you do.
Thank you.
Just a great job. Thank you so much.
thank you, Jenny. We have the best team. We just have some amazing people. But Marsha, just good work, just really, really good work. And I just really super proud. And, I am grateful that we have a team that really cares enough to share their success and some of the challenges. I mean, like Marsha would be the first to say, there were times that she was nervous about this. Like when she did this fantastic proposal, she didn't go submit it because had fear about it. And I'm like, dang, Marsha, that's like the best proposal I've ever seen. Go freaking submit it to them. And literally like held her feet to the fire. So she just she's done what, you know, outside comfort zone. Like we're not taught this in nursing school, are we, Marsha? So we're taught how to calculate pharmaceutical dosages.
And
of
some
all.
other ungodly things that we don't want to talk about.
Exactly. I'm glad that we can reprogram. Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to assign a homework assignment, and it's an hour and 15 minutes, so this is not small, but I'm going to post this podcast, if you've not seen it, with Mel Robbins and this neuroscientist, because I think it's very important. His story is profound, and it really will bring tears to your eyes. I'm going through it now my second time, and I'm starting to take notes because it's something I really want to be able to convey when we have just a few minutes with people. So that is your homework assignment. And then you guys make some copies of applications, get your list out. Tomorrow's going to be a late night. I've already got people that I'm meeting with at 9 o'clock. Like I'm inviting some people in different markets that have, you know, said that they're interested. I'm like, hey, I don't think there's anybody in, you know, this market that I know of that really knows about this. Would you be open to looking at this as a business? And they're like, sure, you know. So I'm like, well, I'll meet with you at 9 o'clock Monday night, and I'm going to show you how to do this and earn money back. So don't be afraid to have those conversations with people. If you know, if you like them. If we don't like them, we don't tell them the good stuff, right? You don't have to invite people you don't like into this business. Anything else? Did we forget anything tonight? All right. Well, I believe in you guys, and this is an opportunity to really not just, you know, change your own life and your family's life, but to really demonstrate that we have something that can help a lot of people. So just like Marsha, inspirational, don't let fear rule, but faith. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the call tomorrow night, see what we have to serve people with in the future. So lots of love to everybody. Thank you so much, LaShona. Thank you for being on first time tonight. And we'll see you guys on the Freedom Call tomorrow night at 8. Lots of love.
Good night.